Triple Shot Mindset. So today's topic,
I'm going to have an English accent.
we're going to have an English accent the entire time. And
That'll be
going to drive everyone insane on April Fool's.
That'd be fantastic.
April Fool's is coming. It's one of my favorite holidays.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's not even a holiday, is it?
It's a holiday for me, all right? I like to take the piss out of people, as the Brits say. Anyway.
Do they?
Yeah, I've got to burp again, but this time I'm going to make it quiet.
Can we smell it?
It's very fruity.
Is it?
It's the nectar bowl. Actually smells rather fresh. All right.
What was it?
So here's what's happening in my life. Okay?
Okay.
It says I'm in the master chair. Not to be...
I'm sorry, what?
The master chair.
Oh, okay.
The leader's chair.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the leaderboard. I'm in this place in my life. I think I've gone through a midlife crisis or like a quarter life crisis. You know, Saturn return and stuff.
Yeah.
Almost didn't survive. It was great. Loved that for me. And now we're here. And what the theme of my life is right now, it came to me yesterday, is trust or combust. Did you see that on my Instagram? Trust or combust. Because
I think they rhyme though, because that's very deep.
You think so?
Yeah.
Here's what made me think that. You have a choice when the universe puts you in a hard spot. You either lose your mind and you explode and you get frustrated and you feel the need to micromanage and control every aspect of your life, or you just have faith that it's for a bigger purpose. And right now I'm realizing that I have big problems with a lot of things. Faith, patience, trust. I'm horrible at all three of those things. So what tips do you have for me as people who have lived slightly longer, just have a few more months of experience on me?
You got to trust.
But
that
how?
Would be,
but how?
I
Tips
think
and
in your
tricks.
worst days, your worst moments, I consciously take myself out of that line of thinking, and I close my eyes and I tell myself, I know there's a greater purpose to this. And even if I have to do it 10 times a day, 20 times a day, I'm waiting for a text, I'm waiting for a call, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that, and it doesn't materialize, I always go back to that Tony Robbins quote that I'm pushing on you to a point that you guys may have diarrhea by now.
I don't even know what it is, so you've not pushed it hard enough.
Every
rejection is a redirection.
Right?
Yes.
And you don't know that. You don't know what's good for you and what's not good for you. And when I was going through my divorce, I thought it's the worst thing for me. And I kept telling myself, and after I read that Tony Robbins quote, I told myself that I have to come out of this way of thinking. Every time I have a thought about this, I have to say that quote to myself. And I probably say to myself 100 times the first few weeks. And every time something happened, I'm like, no, this can't be. Every rejection is a redirection. And I did to a point that every time my mind even went there subconsciously, that phrase came over it and just covered it up and made it better.
Oh, you programmed yourself.
Yeah. That's so amazing. Now when I'm occasionally something doesn't go my way, usually on the highway, I remind myself of that. And I trust myself and the universe and God that there's a greater purpose for everything. And there's a reason everything happened. There's a reason that door closed. There's a reason that I'm down this path I am. And I know it's hard because if you let your mind just run with all that negativity and all that, because I'm impatient like you. I want things did and done now.
Yep.
Right? Why doesn't it happen on my timeline? But then as things start unraveling, you start saying, oh, this is why it's taking longer.
Yep.
Because you want, for example, in a relationship, you want the other person to come out of a dark place.
Yep.
You want the other person to experience something they wouldn't wanted to experience during your relationship with somebody else. Mm-hmm. So they have to go through those phases. And just me and you are very impatient people.
Damn it.
It is what it is. But we have to be patient. We have to roll with the punches, and we have to find something to occupy our minds with.
God, that's the whole thing.
In the
Because my
interim.
mind is so creative, you know, and
Is it?
you get it as a creative.
Oh.
Well, my mind. I don't know about what I put out into the world.
Yeah.
But it will run in any direction. It will take an idea, the seed of an idea, and I'm already projecting futures and events, moments, precious
Weddings
and funerals and births and deaths and all that. And then I'm like, oh no, none of this has happened. It is not even real.
What I do, now that I'm only a few months older than you,
Just a few.
when I go into those areas that I'm like, what the fuck? I thought this was going to happen. I actually go to the restroom, stand in front of the mirror, fully clothed.
Oh.
Good.
And
Good.
I get mad and I speak to myself saying, you effing idiots. Grow up, grow the fuck up. It's not, oh, I wanted this, didn't happen. I wanted that, didn't happen. The universe has a bigger plan for you. I don't speak to myself. I speak to my soul in the mirror. And I feel ashamed at the end of that conversation. Like, what kind of weakling was I that I was like so throwing a little pout and no, I'm not doing it my way. I'm sad today. I actually talk to myself that way. I'm mad at myself for being weak. I'm mad at myself for being needy. And tell myself I'm better than that. Grow up, you fucking Kevin. Get out there, do what you do best, and the world, everything will work out for you eventually.
That's great. That's great. I take a less violent approach. I started asking myself why. Like, why do you want this person so bad? What need do you have that this person is going to fill for you? Why? And I started asking so many whys. At the end, I'm like, wiser, because now I understand what my issue was. As much as I would like to, like sometimes I do say, fuck you, Ardavan, what are you doing? But then if I start asking myself why, and I answer it by looking at myself in the mirror, and being honest with myself, then usually it's a need that I haven't learned to fill myself with.
And that's exactly, I know the answer and don't have to ask you. I'll tell myself, you fucking needy bitch, what's wrong with you? I'll actually say it because I know the answer. Like, I'm being needy. I'm being weak. I'm being negative.
But I think if you also ask yourself, like ask those whys. One time, my ex-wife and I were driving back from LAX, and she said she was at a workshop because she's a coach for chiropractors, and the whole weekend was asking why. And you ask so many whys to a point that like you get to the bottom of every layer of issues, and you finally answer your own question. And I think if you go through that progression of, you know, truths that you don't want to hear, it actually awakens you, and that kind of an impact has a longer lasting effect and a more positive effect, I think, than saying fuck you to yourself, which you can, by the way, you can say it.
And I do it all the
say it to
time.
myself all the time too, but
And the mirror says, fuck you too, you bitch.
Right.
Don't call me a...
So we did this exercise as we were driving down. She said, let me show you. And she says, why do you love me?
Oh,
I'm like,
she went straight for the hard hitter.
Yeah, because da-da-da. Why? And the only question on her end was why? Because you are a great person. Why? Because you fill certain needs. Why? Because those needs I don't fill myself. Why? Because I'm incapable. Why? Well, that's my stupid mindset. Why? Because when I was a kid, da-da-da. So like you go through these things, and then by the time you come out of it again, because you go down this thing and then you have a realization, you come out and you realize that a lot of those things go back to when you were a kid, at least to me. And we're trying to just fill those gaps with people and events and useless cars and houses and status symbols to cover those up. But deep down, we have to dig deep. And it's like a scab. You got to just like, you know, pick at it. It's not the best thing for your health. Yeah, you're going to get infections eventually. But if you see what's deep down hurting you, then you can come out the other way understanding yourself better versus going through the same patterns over and over again.
If you have Steve Harvey's mindset,
Steve Harvey.
He says, I'm walking down the hall, a million doors. And I try to open this one. It doesn't open as much, so I can't walk through. And I tell myself there's a reason, because there's a door down the hall, maybe 10 doors down, maybe 100 doors down, that will open easily. And that's what the universe or God intended. So to answer your question about planning your weddings, yes, we all see everybody as potential, every avenue as, oh, this is a business opportunity. But if that door doesn't open easily, yes, sometimes you try, but after a while you're like, you know what? F it. It wasn't meant to be. There's something bigger, grander waiting for me.
And I think your reality and my reality and your reality and what is actually the reality, they're all different.
Yep.
Like you may think that a guy you like, he feels exactly the same way as you do. And he has the same intentions as you do. And he loves you the same way you love him. And he has the same plans and the same ambitions. And I think that's dangerous for me too, because I go down this route of fantasizing about certain people and again, the end game. And now we're getting married. Now I'm like laying on the beach with her and she feeds me grapes and all that. And in reality, when you talk to the person, like, hey, buddy, what's up?
Yep.
I'm going out on a date tonight.
Yep.
And and that is the biggest and it's not like they didn't tell you that.
Yeah.
They told you that.
Yeah. We hear what we want to hear.
They said they have a girlfriend. They said they have a boyfriend.
Yes.
But
They
We're
say they're not
creating a reality
interested.
up here.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
Yeah.
So I guess that gets back to the trust piece. It's not just trusting in the universe. It's like, why don't we trust ourselves enough to create the reality that we want to live in for real? Not in our head, but for real.
Is that your green tea?
That was
again?
my green tea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sneakily switched to another chair and left you to
Right.
deal with the aftermath.
So I missed a question. What?
The question is, well, it's a philosophical question. I don't think there's a real answer. I don't know, but it's hard because I feel like something you said earlier really resonated with me, which is that a lot of things go back to our childhood and we have like these gaps where we either weren't taught how to fill a need or we were strictly told you don't either deserve that need filled. We also mimic our parents a lot. Like kids don't do as I say, they do as I do. Like a kid will just become whatever you are. So when we're thinking about the way we grew up, I do think we use people as corks for like gaping wounds. And we're like, oh, look, I'll take this person and I'll cork this hole with it. And then they're going to meet the needs that I don't know how to meet right there. And it's tough for me because I'm wondering, well, we're not supposed to live without people. I don't think we're supposed to just like go become a hermit in a cave and say, screw all people, I can meet all my own needs. But then there's the other extreme of using people for everything, for validation and to, kiss your feet and tell you how wonderful you are. And it's like too much.
Yeah.
So how do we find a happy medium? How do people find a happy medium? I don't even know if I've found a happy medium.
I think I surround myself with quality people, not quantity. And thankfully, since my divorce, I've been able to be honest with myself. And as a result, I've shed a bunch of people from my life because either they couldn't handle who I've become or I didn't see the need for them. And not to be like a egotistical bitch, I do want people, I do like people, but I shed them because they no longer, I realize I'm keeping them around for a particular need. We weren't like the best of friends. We didn't connect well, but I kept them because they made me laugh, or I kept them because when I used to, bitch about my divorce, they used to bitch back with me. So I decided to hang out with people like you two that will give me the truth and will add to my growth versus just. So for me, I have to look at every person and see if they're feeling a need. And if that need is something, because I would like to have people around me that don't feel a need, that they are adding to me. So if I add people around me that add to me versus fill that need, I think we have better relationships and I guess better connections with them. So if I...
That's in a world where everybody's perfect, I think. That you don't have a need. I think everybody has a need.
Everyone has needs. I don't think there's anything wrong with having
Right.
needs.
So I think you find a balance. Somebody that doesn't add to fill those needs, because then you know it's a more genuine relationship. You're not together because of need. And they also fulfill a need that you have. So I think somewhere in the middle is the answer.
It's always that way.
Yeah. And for everybody, it's different. So like he said, you know, your life is different. You have certain needs that you want filled. And at the same time, it would be nice to have a person that doesn't necessarily fill those needs, but is somebody that like, wow, you know, you're not satisfying me in that way, but I'm actually learning from you. I'm becoming a better person because of you.
So they give you what you really need.
Yeah, but you don't know you need it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then like, wow, I'm learning from this person. They're making me grow. Like he said, like me to him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a godly figure to him. So
You said that?
he learns from me.
Where was I?
He maybe there are needs there that he doesn't know about. Everybody. I mean, I think that works in every scenario where you are with a person that meets your needs, and a part of them that does not fill that need, you learn from that.
So the other one isn't a need then?
No, it's not. It could be a need that you don't know existed, but you're like, oh my God, wow. Now I'm hooked on this because you teach me things that otherwise I would not know.
I mean, I've been told that by many people.
Yeah, no, I know.
And they don't have a need for me initially, but once I leave their life, they're like, wow, where were you? Or
Yes.
like, why are you leaving me?
Because you don't know what you don't know.
But in all seriousness, I think need to me is a negative word. I don't want to ever be needy or dependent on someone to make me happy, even though in this phase of my life, my mind sometimes goes there. I think that's a negative thing. Need is a negative thing. What I'm seeking is someone that I want to align with that will compliment me and will pull me up. And I don't think that's a need, because at any level you think that's your pinnacle. I mean, we all know that we can do better. But if someone comes along and pulls you up a couple of notches and you're like, oh, that was good. I didn't know I had that in me, but now I am here. That's the kind of person I want. So physical needs, emotional needs, all that, great. I think we all have some of that as being humans. And I think human nature, we need to be sociable and we have to have those connections. But I don't think we should have those connections because we feel lonely on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Or we feel that, you know, some guy could make me laugh because I'm too depressed right now.
Well, there are solutions for those lonely Friday nights.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later.
And you want to open up a business.
That will be the unplugged version of today's episode, which we'll circle back to.
Yeah.
So in other words, it sounds to me, who's trying to fit this all in together with all the things I'm learning, you're also saying that sometimes going based on a need can be negative because it's just pleasure seeking. Like people aren't going to sit with themselves and say, why? They're not going to ask the questions. They're just like, oh, this hurts. I don't like being alone on a Friday night. Let me just get someone real quick and fill the need. Instead of, let me sit with this and say, why? Why am I so uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Why? They don't want to do character building. They want to just jump to the pleasure.
Yeah. And when we were driving back from LAX with my ex-wife 3 years ago, I had to pretend I'm not crying because after the 7th or 8th, bless you.
Thank you.
After the 7th or 8th, why that you're getting really deep into things, it becomes emotional. And I think a lot of people don't want to like get into it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it.
It's messy.
Yeah.
No one's ever been trained to deal with that.
So she's like, oh, you can cry. I'm like, okay. I'm veering off in Seal Beach, Huntington Beach area. But after like I parked and she left the car and I sat there, I'm like, oh my God, that was like a heavy thing lifted off my chest and off my emotions, because now I have a clearer picture of who I am and where I need to be and what I need to do to get there. And if you don't have that in you, I suggest carving out half an hour today, tomorrow, whatever, and stand in front of the mirror and be honest with yourself, because your soul knows the answer.
Yeah.
It's your ego that's trying to cover it up with bullshit. So don't let your ego come in and answer. And like you owe it to your soul to like tell it why are you living your life the way you are, with this soul looking on. Like the soul doesn't have a voice usually because your ego drowns it out. but you owe it to your soul to tell it why you're doing things the way you're doing it. Is it worth it? Is it its purpose? Yesterday, I read a guy was talking about. Actually, it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
Tyson.
No, not that.
Not
Tyson.
that Tyson.
The frozen chicken. No,
That Tyson.
no. Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was talking about the possibility of you being born, the probability of you being born, right? And it's astronomically small, that percentage. Like he said, 1 in 25 trillion. I'm just making this number up.
Yeah.
Right. And there are, and he said there are all these souls waiting to come Earthside. And you were lucky enough to carry on those souls with you into this world for the next 80 years. Right. Live your life the way that it's not a waste to that person, because there's billions of souls out there floating around hoping to get a chance to come Earthside. And here you are fucking up, squandering that opportunity to live the life that you deserve because you're needy, you're greedy, you take things for granted. So to me, that was really huge, because he's a scientist. He rarely talks about, he never admits about UFOs and things being real. So the fact that he talks spirituality and mixes it with numbers and physics and mathematics, I think that was really cool to understand it from that perspective, that we're here for a limited time. We have to get it right because we owe the soul here a good reason why we're doing things.
And that's why I go in front of the mirror and I say that to my soul, because I say I deserve better than being cooped up in this little man-made, oh my God, I feel sorry for myself. I deserve better. I need something. I need somebody. I talk to my soul. I say, you know what? Get out of this fucking rut.
No. You're talking to your ego. You're not talking to your soul. Your soul has no voice. The poor things that...
Okay, I guess I am talking to my ego. But a part of me is like, this person, this soul was put here for better things, was achieve. And whatever the universe wants to give me, it will. Whatever it doesn't want to, maybe that's for the better. So shut up and just live your life. Keep your chin up and stop thinking about all these little things that don't really matter.
You're talking to your ego at this point, right?
It's a combo, dude. It's a combination.
I don't think it's a combination, because your soul doesn't have a voice.
The soul, the soul comes and starts talking to that whatever's keeping it, which is ego. But I'm speaking from my soul. I'm looking at myself and see my soul.
Speaking from your soul to your ego.
Yes, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, this is a human being which is imperfect, but what's inside me is perfect. Why am I listening to all these needs for this idiot named Kevin, and I have to like go around this way to find happiness where I should be happy inside? So that's what I do.
That's very profound too. You're both doing the same thing, just differently. Different. One's aggressive and one's assertive.
Yeah.
But they both have their value.
I think at the end we both want to get to the fact that don't listen to the ego, listen to your soul.
Yeah. Because we really are our worst enemy, I've noticed. I'm my worst enemy. I carry around fear of many, many things. And I've heard people say like, oh, you're afraid of your own success. You're afraid of your own success. I don't know if I believe that I'm afraid of my own success, but I know I am afraid of discomfort. I know I don't like taking risks, and I know that I'm capable of a lot, but I like placid.
My God, this is going to be an intro to my talk in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So we're not going to explore that too much.
Okay.
But I think
I got dips on that.
I think
that just forces them to tune back in. And
but I think the two approaches, Kevin and I's, I think first you got to do this, the why, right? You do that a few times, but if you start going back off track, then you say, hey, motherfucker, I just had a talk with you like 3 weeks ago. Why are you going back to that?
Yeah.
Right? I think your approach has a place, but I think first you got to dig and see what's under all that. Because just saying, fuck you, motherfucker, do it right. Well, yeah, you want to do it right, but you go back to the same patterns. So you have to see what's causing that pattern, what's causing that derailment deep down, And once you know what the derailment is and you fix it and you still do it, then yeah, fuck you, Kevin.
So then how do people really knock themselves out of those brain waves? Because our neurons are programmed to fire the same way from doing things so long. So you said we always return to our pattern. At some point, you really do have to knock yourself out of a pattern.
You do. And I think trauma really, really
Yes, I agree.
that.
Trauma and grief, I say, are the best pattern knockers.
So I told my brother one time, I said, I'm so glad that my shell cracked out of a divorce, not out of a loss of a loved one or out of a news of cancer, right? Because if losing a wife on paper, like losing a person on paper really, is the best case scenario for this whole thing, great, bring it on.
Yeah.
If
no one died.
Yeah, no one died. No one got cancer. No one had to leave the earth. So to me, that was one of the best things that happened to me. I do respect and love her as a friend. But I'm so glad this happened, because otherwise I would have just been down the miserable lane and I would have not known it, because I thought this was great. The status quo was great. So asking all those why questions for me, you get to this point that's really emotional, because you know that's the epicenter of all your issues. And you have to like just address it, whether it's going to therapy, whether it's recognizing it and being mindful of it. You have to address it over and over again. Just like I used to chant the Tony Robbins quote in my head. You do it to a point that now those neurons are firing differently.
Yep.
And as soon as you do that, then like, wow, I got over that. Yeah, it took me, a year, but I got over that. So in my opinion, humbly as it may be, as my brother would say it, dig down, be honest with yourself, find that epicenter that's making you cry and emotional, and you don't want to go there. Most people don't want to go there, but I went there and I dug deep and I found it, and then I knew what it was and I started working on it. So, and then if I go back sometimes I start doing the same thing, like honestly, I've done this the past few weeks, as both of you know why. I've gone in the front of the mirror downstairs where the kids are sleeping upstairs. I close the door. I say, what the fuck are you doing, you motherfucking piece of shit? Right? Beep, beep, beep.
Keep mom out of it, please.
Right? And then I get reminded of the deal I made with myself 6 months ago, that I'm good enough. I'm the answer to someone's prayers, that I'm going to hold my chin up and I'm just going to go down with the process, and whatever the timeline and process is, it's, the universe and God's will. And I'll just have to trust it.
You got to trust.
Trust.
Or combust.
Trust in the system. Yeah.
Trust or combust.
Trust or combust. That
you don't
goes
wanna
back to your
combust.
first words.
You
Trust.
want to combust.
You don't want to combust.
No, so you
Right.
just trust. Otherwise, you combust, you're done.
Yeah. Explode. That was good.
Okay, good.
Triple Shot Mindset.